Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address this beautiful gathering with our chief guest, Honorable Union Minister, guests of honor, our ICA President in absentia, Vice President ICA, all the Central Council members, Regional Council members, SARC Chairman, distinguished guests and delegates. We thank you all for your valuable time. I, C.S. Subhashini, along with my co-host, C.S. Swarnaprada, welcome you all on behalf of SIRC of ICAI to this 52nd Regional Conference of SIRC, named and styled as Sigaram, Breakthrough to Excellence, which is spread across 4 days with various technical sessions and entertainment. Stay tuned for an amazing learning experience.
Let us begin the conference with the ICAI motto song.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Thank you. May I now request C.A. Dungar Chand U. Jain, Chairman SIRC of ICAI, to address the gathering.
Respected Chief Guest Madam, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, beloved and respected guests of honor, C. Atul Kumar Gupta ji, President ICAI in absentia, C. Niyaran Jambusaria ji, Vice President ICAI, Central Council members of ICAI, my other colleagues in the Regional Council, past and present members of various organs of ICAI, SARC and all branches in India and abroad, esteemed delegates of this 52nd Regional Conference, other distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a proud and happiest moment in my life to be with you today and to perform the present and privileged task of extending to all of you a very warm and hearty welcome to this 4-day 52nd Regional Conference as Chairman of SARC of ICAI, the first ever virtual conference of its kind. Today, the 10th December 2020 is a red letter day for me and for my colleagues in the Southern India Regional Council when SARC holds its 52nd Regional Conference being inaugurated by Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs. At this juncture, I happily recall the participation of our chief guest at the 46th Regional Conference held in Madurai in the year 2014 when she was the Honorable Union Minister for State for Commerce and Industry. And today we have our chief guest as the Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs. Madam, we are immensely grateful to you for accepting our invitation to inaugurate the conference. To rise up in the society, the indicator is what you perform to the people of the country. Honorable Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman Madam has risen to this stature by her selfless, devoted service and working round the clock for the nation. The Forbes ranking of 41 for most powerful women in the world for the year 2020 and 34 for the year 2019 is the strong testimony of the same. An affirmable personality, the Union Minister has scores of admirers for her vocabulary, versatility and presentation skills which the whole nation is witnessing in her enormous contribution under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Madam, it would have been yet another occasion for you to have visited the temple city Madurai had this conference been held in the normal course at Madurai but for the pandemic scenario. We wish and are sure that on a near future occasion, we once again will have your gracious presence in one of the programs of SARC when our members could be present personally. It is more gratifying for us that our beloved President ICI and Vice President are also joining, who are our guiding force to our profession and to us in SARC, and have been extending tremendous moral support all through the year, and more particularly their immense support in conducting this conference and enhancing the image of SARC. I am sure the objectives of this conference would be well achieved with fruitful deliberations in the technical sessions on subjects which are chosen after deep deliberations with an eye to focus on contemporary and futuristic topics of professional interest. Also, we have seen registrations for this conference across the globe, and this inaugural program is watched by members across India and abroad through the YouTube. SARC is fully supported by the conference committee comprising of chairman and members of the various service committees. Their total commitment, well coordination under the effective guidance of CA PV Rajarajeshwaran, past chairman of SARC, CA Jayaseelan, CA Pradeep, and many more in conducting this conference through the virtual mode. Dear delegates, your support and enthusiasm to participate in this conference in large numbers has given us great sense of happiness. We thank all of you for your love and support extended to all our programs of SARC throughout the year. Before I conclude, I would like to make a brief reference about the theme of this conference, Sigaram, with a tagline, Breakthrough to Excellence, which itself indicates the intent of SARC to make this forum of chartered accountants in this mega conference of this nature to explore newer domain of professional activities, enhance knowledge and excel in all respects, and in the process reflect our commitment to serve the nation, the clientele and the society at large to offer our best services at all times. I join with my colleagues in offering our greetings and good wishes for a happy, healthy, brighter and prosperous New Year to 2021. In these tough times of COVID, I would like to conclude with what Lenin said, and I quote, "There are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. Let us all strive together to keep the flag of the ICA fly high, the institution to which we proudly belong, and bring laurels to our profession to reach the Sigaram of glory in the days ahead. Jai Hind, Jai ICA."
Thank you so much, sir. We will now have our traditional lamp lighting, a digital lamp lighting, to usher in knowledge and auspicious beginnings by our Honorable Union Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
We request the Vice President of ICAI, CA Nihar N. Jambusarya, to address the gathering.
CA Dungarchand Jain and his entire team of the Southern region, my colleagues in the Central Council, and the members of the region and across the world who are attending this conference. Friends, we are all aware that generally regional conference is the most awaited event of the region, and normally it is confined to the members of the region. But with the virtual mode available to us, today this conference is being attended not only by the members of Southern region, but members across the country and all over the globe. And that is the biggest achievement of using this technology. I compliment the Regional Council for organizing this regional conference with the theme Breakthrough through Excellence. And if you look at the design of this conference, you have embraced all topics which are relevant for the future very well. And I'm sure that over these 3 or 4 years, this conference will give a lot of good inputs to the members. Madam, world is passing through a very difficult phase, and so is our country. And we are witnesses that the government is doing its best to bring normalcy, provide vaccination to the citizens, and ensure resumption of normal life. And the finance ministry has done its best to ensure that the economy revives at the earliest, the businesses do not suffer, and they do not close down, and they start flourishing as they were flourishing before the pandemic struck us. Madam, you will appreciate that our institute has always been your partner in the nation building efforts. All the time in the past, be it GST, be it any other initiative of the government, and the institute was always standing with the government. In this difficult time, our institute has taken up various projects which will go hand in hand with the government. It will help government efforts. Like the institute has taken up MSME mentorship program. In difficult times, generally small businesses suffer more and they require more handholding. Realizing this, the institute has set up a core group to help MSMEs, and every member is requested that they may adopt at least 2 MSMEs, handhold them and guide them properly as to how to reboot their businesses and revive. We are very actively engaged with Niti Aayog, and in all its endeavors, the institute is giving inputs for the revival of economy. And we are told that Niti Aayog has appreciated all these inputs and is acting upon them. In the initiatives of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, particularly on ease of doing, where the businesses outside are looking for investment in India and they are looking for ease of doing, our institute is providing all necessary inputs and are working with MCA. We also understand that the government is very serious about sustainability goals, and the institute has set up Sustainability Reporting Standards Board this year to take up sustainability initiatives seriously, and to name a few, particularly on preservation of environment, employment, gender equality, and many other sustainability initiatives. The institute is working very hard and is trying to be with the government in all its endeavors. I am sure that under your leadership, we will be seeing a very good future, and again the earlier goal of the Prime Minister to put the economy on $5 trillion economy, this goal we will be achieving very soon. Our first endeavor will be to revive the economy and then be on the path that you have already set. So with this, I once again compliment Southern India Regional Council headed by CA DC Jain for organizing this regional conference, which has dynamic subjects, dynamic speakers, and I am sure our members will find this conference a big value add in the journey to follow. Thank you so much for inviting me, and let me communicate our president had to suddenly attend another meeting with the government only, so he is attending and he will be with us in some time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request the audio visual about our chief guest, the Honorable Union Minister. now have the e-felicitation of our chief guest, Honorable Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman.
May I now request our chief guest, Honorable Union Minister, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, to kindly address the gathering.
Good evening. It gives me great pleasure to be back again talking to the South India Regional Council. You rightly recalled I was in Madurai. You've even saved me the job of lighting the lamp again by using my old photo. I fondly remember the day when I was there, and this happens to be the 52nd regional conference. And of course, the name you have given the event, Sigaram, Shikhar as in Hindi, is a very appropriate name, because aspiring to reach and attaining a breakthrough to reach excellence is such an eternal virtue, a virtue which is everlasting, doesn't confine itself to any generation. Every generation can aspire to breakthrough for greater and greater excellence. So I think you have really touched the right chord in picking a name like that with a motto of achieving breakthrough to reach excellence. And who better in today's world to talk about achieving excellence than the, let's say, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Your role as chartered accountants have today become a lot more multi-dimensional. It's no longer just looking at the numbers, no longer just doing compliances, no longer advising your clients on how best to be efficient with money and accounting for money. You are the guides for your clients for a futuristic view on efficient service to the nation, optimal utilization of resources, compliance without too much of a pain, adaptation of technology, and more importantly, being a bridge between the legislator and the citizen. Because every one of the economic activity in which an engagement happens, there is a need to be sure that it is compliant. And there's a need to be sure that professionally good way of handling it is happening, and who better can do that job than a qualified chartered accountant. So I put on record the critical and important role that you are playing, you have to play, and I'm sure you're geared up to play in the coming years for India. Particularly Indian Chartered Accountancy has played a very mature and less flamboyant kind of a role. Indian accounts and audit practices have always aspired to meet global standards. Not connected directly, but I would still say it is the Indian Controller and Audit General, the Controller and Auditor General of India, who is chosen by the United Nations to advise them on audit and accounts. That itself shows that for a premier global body, Indian accountants, chartered accountants, controller of audit and the CAG's office are all representative of the high quality and standards that you've over the decades achieved, and there is just never an exaggeration of the standards with which you have built this entire league of people with the absolute high quality testing, very clear camaraderie, if I can use the word, with your association. And therefore, India has a lot more expectations also on the chartered accountants. Why is the expectation worth mentioning now? Because we are in an era where technology is coming in a big way in every aspect of our lives. No longer are data just for pedagogic purposes. Today, data is driving our everyday lives. Data is used by those who help facilitate our lives. And therefore, understanding data, using technology, and making sure that there is a real-time benefit derived by using the technology is of critical importance. And I think the profession chartered accountancy removes a lot of what can be otherwise lethargic, but bring in that dimension which gives the artificial intelligence which can come with it, that human face which you as trained chartered accountants can give that artificial intelligence, that human angle, and bring it to become relevant for our lives. It's not an abstract thing. It's not something which is going to be used in something distant from us. Artificial intelligence, big data are going to make your jobs, a profession, a lot more easier, fluid, and also far more meticulous, if I can say. And in reverse, your intervention in understanding data which the technology provides, the facility which technology provides, which is absolutely necessary, that interface between you as a professional and the technology that it comes with certain benefits is actually going to make that technology very closer to our lives. And if it is closer to our lives, it is going to make it all the more easier for all of us to live. And those law-abiding citizens can have the comfort that things are all adding up and it is immediately reaching authorities who've got to know about it. Cross-tabulations are all going to be easy. And therefore, your clients are also going to get the comfort that everything is happening in real time. Whether it is a simple task of filing a return, certified return, or a pre-filled data which comes to you, you're able to cross-tabulate, reconcile it, and help your customers. And therefore, it is a two-way highway path in which there are no obstructions and you end up benefiting by adopting it. So I would think technology and chartered accountants are friends who can give and take mutually and benefit from it. I must, first of all, before I get into saying things which are relevant for today, I must, first of all, put my appreciation on record for the excellent awareness building since before the launch of the GST and post the launch of GST, the chartered accountants are doing for us. You are actively engaging with clients, actively engaging with people to explain to them as to why this is going to do a lot of good for us. You have actually explained to everybody the need for one nation, one tax. However, I'm also glad that you're also actually the interface for the government to know what improvements have to be done further in the technology that is being used. In the digitized version, which the GSTN is the platform, also needs that input from you who are practitioners on the ground to tell us where the technology, if bettered, can serve you and your clients better. In this, I want to underline the fact that the relationship between the chartered accountants and the government, particularly the revenue department, is not at all adversarial. And inputs which come for improving the GST will have to be real time, which is what is happening in large numbers, and the engagement should be a lot more productive, in the sense the inputs that are coming should be those which are doables for us to immediately improve the system. There are, of course, people who can always tell us that, no, this is never going to work, you're not doing anything, even among, let us say, your counterparts, your colleagues. But I fully appreciate that frustration with which a lot of them, speak out. And that's probably because the expectations on the GST, the system, the GSTN were very high. And the fact remains that the GST has been designed for every individual businessman, every individual, who's a professional who wants to file his return, and not for the professional chartered accountants to do it. So it's actually tailored for each one to do his own. But when it is now being done by people who are probably into the depths of accounting and dealing with 20 different clients' needs all at one go, there are difficulties which thankfully are being addressed now. But that is a classic case where the system looks much forward, takes the input and designs itself for driving a futuristic system with which people can easily, do their due diligence. So much water has flown under the bridge when we talk about the GSTN. I'm happy to say today, with the inputs which have come from so many different practitioners, tax practitioners, audit practitioners, we have definitely worked together with the Infosys, and the system has improved. But there can still be a lot of inputs which I welcome heartily. So I must therefore start by appreciating the role that the Indian Chartered Accountancy Institute has played in building awareness of the GST. I was also glad to hear in the introductory remark about how in helping the MSMEs, you have taken upon yourself for each of your member to handhold at least 2 MSMEs to tell them as to how to go about the business, which is a great service because India's economy is a very diverse, colored economy. It has so many different dimensions to it. With so many different dimensions, yet one thing which runs as a common strand is the MSME and their prevalence all over the country. They are actually the backbone of Indian economy. And for them, if you're helping out, each hand-holding 2 MSMEs, I think is a brilliant idea. And if you've done that kind of a thing, if you've commenced it already, and if you're working with MSMEs to make them understand everything that they need to run their business professionally, I think is a great service is being undertaken by the Institute. I commend you for that very good effort. I'm sure it is going to have a big impact on all the MSMEs. First of all, it will give them a lot of confidence that professionals like you are willing to work together with them because they come from diverse backgrounds and different qualifications, professional or otherwise, and this help will be of great importance. I was also equally happy to know that you're working together with the MCA, a ministry which depends on you. In fact, the ministry which holds you all together in a way. That's the ministry which monitors your statute And happening to be the minister of MCA, I understand how critical it is for you all to have that relationship with the MCA, because ultimately, small or big, companies and company related matters do benefit from professional advice, and the ministry will be all the better for that engagement which you have with them. And in that, I think there is still a lot of help and still a lot of assistance and still a lot of positivity which I expect from the institute and its members as regards the insolvency and bankruptcy code. Even there, I find a lot of engagement with the chartered accountants is very required, because the resolution professionals are all well-trained people who are in the job, but a bit more of assistance coming, a bit more of synergy between the resolution professionals and chartered accountants would only make a very progressive law like the IBC far more robust. And for it to be robust, for it to be very timely and keeping abreast of the development in the industry, it is necessary for the professionals like tax practitioners and chartered accountants to continuously and constantly engage with the ministry which serves the IBC, and that is the MCA. Equally, I was fascinated to hear that you are placing a lot of emphasis on sustainability related goals. It's good now, you're talking about environment, absolutely required, but I'm more keen on understanding how your sustainability goal also had a mention about gender. I want more chartered accountant women. I want more women who are professionals, tax professionals. I want more chartered accountants who are women who will come on the boards of companies. I would like to see more tax practitioners who are women and who go about telling their clients how important it is for this country to understand that clients are well advised to help the country mobilize better resources. So sustainability from the point of view of environment, I fully understand. I appreciate how you're going to be able to bring in that consciousness in your clients. But if you're able to have more women qualify as chartered accountants, handhold more women to become more chartered accountants, handhold more women to also take tax advisory professionals roles, and make sure that when you nominate or when you advise the government about having more members, independent directors in companies, you will first prop up a name of a woman and later, obviously, the men. So it might bring in a newer dimension, particularly when you're holding your 52nd regional conference. I might want to set that as a goal for the year when 75 years of Indian independence is celebrated, and you would probably be 55 years old or 54 years old. I would like to see more women coming on board of companies as directors. But at the moment, I seek a greater proactive role from the chartered accountants and tax professionals in being able to popularize, accept, subsume, and bring in onto your system the faceless tax system that we want to bring on board. You know, assessments are no longer going to be with a direct face-to-face interface with the tax authorities. Faceless is what is going to be now and in the future. I would honestly think that's the way to go because it brings in a lot of transparency. That's the way to go because it's also going to be clearly removing that element of discretion in tax assessment. And unless we bring in enthusiastically a support for this faceless at the assessment level and also later at the appeals level, both of which have already been put in place, I would appeal to the chartered accountants and tax consultants to positively encourage your clients to welcome this approach and ensure that simple steps, first check if you have a DIN number into your letters which you receive, second respond faceless, third if you are unhappy, appeal but faceless, and if you don't get timely response to your satisfaction, do let us know. I would rather improve this faceless system than to get back even at some level to some kind of a face-to-face interaction. India now has to move on to eliminate discretion at any and every level. So I actively seek your cooperation, I actively seek your support, and this is something which the Prime Minister promised to the nation, and we have delivered in the promise in that we put in place the system, but to make the system work, it is you, the chartered accountants, who will have to speak for that system. You are the ones who are better placed between the tax assessee and the government to be able to tell about the virtues of this system, what it brings in. After all of us have been crying for years, saying, why is there so much of discretion at the hands of these tax authorities? No discretion now. Therefore, I would want happy support, proactive support, saying, that element is gone, now I can be free, there's not going to be one tax inspector who is going to come into my office premises. What a relief. And therefore, I would think each one of you, like the way you're hand-holding the MSMEs, will honestly hand-hold your clients to say, support it, go ahead with it. If you have a problem, let us know. We'll straight tag the minister and tell her, sorry, your faceless has a problem, correct it. And I guarantee within 24 hours, you at least get an acknowledgement from me. So I think high time that the professionals are going to be on the job of supporting the faceless system which the Prime Minister promised and delivered, both at the stage of assessment and also for appeals. One other thing I would want you to probably look at is Vivad se Vishwas is something where again an extension has been given in dates. And also several other relaxations have been provided. I'm not sure if you've had the freshly put up FAQ, if you've had a look at the freshly put up FAQs, if there are any more questions, if there are any more clarifications that you would want, I would welcome you to please send a note to us. We'll be happy to, take it up and give a lot more clarity to what is required. With all this said, I think I again recognize that the Institute has on its own initiative taken a lot of steps, like the way you're trying to take up the forensic audit standardization, which is, I think, a very good forward-looking step. It is very interesting that you have come forward to take care of that requirement. And that also obviously is going to depend on technology. Again, looking at the ways in which international audit practices are also gradually evolving. Many of those things are still too far-fetched for our Indian circumstances. But what could be adapted may be adapted, not to rush in at all. You know the ground, you know the clients, you know the Indian tax and other setup. So it is for you to make a very discerned decision as to which will be adaptable now and which can wait for some other time. But what is important is, as a profession, today you're now panning out, as I said at the very beginning, to be able to advise firms on tax and tax-related matters, business and business models, adaptation to newer market situations. You're also telling businesses as to what are the other areas into which they can expand beyond their core businesses. So effectively, you are the brains behind businesses. Businessmen run their core activities. But for it to flourish, ideas about how to manage it, how to evolve it, how to develop it, how to allow metamorphosis in the business are all your contribution. And therefore there, I would bring in what the Prime Minister said today, laying the foundation for the new Parliament. Put India first. Put India first in every advice that you give to your clients. It is important that at a stage that we are in today, with immense potential to grow, at a stage that we are today, after having faced the pandemic the way we have faced it, after having seen industries, businesses, all of them going through a reset, ways in which businesses were done pre-COVID are not going to be the ways in which businesses are going to be run now, post-COVID. So many different changes are happening. People are resetting themselves. Work from home is also acquiring a lot of traction. At this time, obviously, your advice to your clients, your advice to any of your clients will have to have newer calibrations brought in. And in this time, therefore, repeating Prime Minister's word of putting India first would not be amiss at all. It will only be appropriate, because for every practical reason, India has to build on its strength. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Today, look at the reality. There are countries which don't have a vaccine. There are countries which don't have a possibility of developing a vaccine. There are countries which are possibly developing a vaccine but can't produce it in that scale in which they need it. Look at India. We are not only developing a vaccine, but we are one of those who are going to have a largest quantum of vaccine. Once approved, when it gets produced, we can scale up production and be able to supply for our requirements as much as be able to give nations which want from us. It's a big service to the humanity. And that is possible only because India has developed this over the years, and we've given utmost freedom for scientists who have grown in this area. Yesterday, it was such a nice fact which came out that the Genome Valley, which is in India, around Hyderabad, supplies more than 60% of all the vaccines which are being used for different ailments all over the world. And therefore, India and putting India on the top in every one of what we are going to do in the next few years leading up to the 75th year of our independence would only make India grow in stature, be appealing enough to the world to see the energy with which Indian youth, Indian citizen, all of us, man, woman, professionals, farmers, each one of us will have to be able to stand out in our contribution to our economy. I thank the Indian farmers for having really done brilliantly during the COVID crisis. The rural Indian economy has really buoyed the rest of the country towards a revival. We have to be so imaginative and dedicated that the country can benefit from it. I won't take more of your time. Thank you for having given me this opportunity to be with you. And I look forward to every engagement with you. And I look forward also for your inputs towards Budget 2022. 1st February 2021, we will be presenting the budget, for which I invite your inputs and your suggestions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your encouraging, acknowledging, and appreciating words. May I now request our Vice President to talk.
For giving us this time and are busy in a minute or two. Just like to respond on one or two things which were said. We are very thankful that we appreciate all our efforts that we are putting to help government, to help our parent ministry. And particularly on gender equality, let me inform you, today in our profession, 24% of women are the members chartered accountants and 40% of students are women. And we are giving every support to them, particularly in post-pandemic, where the use of technology and work from home is going to be the rule of the day. It will be very convenient for women to work and advise businesses the way men do. And in this manner, we will put every effort to ensure that gender equality is achieved in real sense. You have done technology. The Institute has started several courses on technology to see that our members are hands-on, not only the end members, even the businesses are hands-on with technology, and we leverage technology to the maximum extent to achieve the business goals. Apart from this, you spoke well on GST. Our indirect tax committee on real-time basis remains in touch with the GST Council and the government and keeps giving inputs very actively. On insolvency and bankruptcy code, that is one point which kept my attention, and you have drawn our attention to that chartered accountant's role is going to be very crucial, because now we need to ensure that if because of pandemic some businesses have suffered, they don't go into liquidation, but they revive. And there, using the code, our members can help reviving those units which have suffered on some count. Faceless tax assessment, yes, the profession is fully with you, fully with the government. We also desire to ensure that discretion is the list that is available to the tax authorities and objective assessments happen. Faceless assessment is the only way, and we ensure that whenever we find that in the way of faceless assessment there are still some issues, then we will not hesitate in bringing those issues to your knowledge immediately. We will handhold clients, and we will be the brains behind the businesses in ethical way. And as you rightly said, we will fulfill the dream of the Prime Minister that in every work that we do, every advice that we give, we put India first and self-interest is the next. In India's interest, self-interest automatically gets subsumed, and we will ensure that we do this. Thank you so much for giving this time, and we are all sure that all these members have got the right message which we were trying to give, and you have given it more extensively and more exhaustively. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We will now have the release of e-souvenir and e-referencer in the presence of our chief guest, Honorable Union Minister Srimati Nirmala Seetharaman.
Chairman of SIRC, CA DC Jain, Vice President, CA Nihar Jambusaryaji, our President, Shri CA Atul Guptaji. It's an immense pride and pleasure for me to propose this vote of thanks at this very historical and momentous conference of SIRC. This is the first ever virtual conference, and it could not have been done in a more befitting manner. Our Honorable Finance Minister, ma'am, your very presence has elevated this conference from what was a regional conference to an almost international level conference with many joining from across the world today. The very theme of the conference, as you pointed out, ma'am, Shigaram, breaking through to excellence. I think it's fair to say that the Honorable Finance Minister is a true embodiment of this theme. And ma'am, you have consistently broken through excellence for the benefit of the country as a whole. Your contribution to the development of our country and guiding us so efficiently in unprecedented times is incredible and is simply unmatched. COVID has been such a situation which is undocumented in history. There was no benchmark. And despite this uncertain period, under the leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji and your excellent steering of the ship at the helm of affairs, the structural reforms, the slew of incentives, Atmanirbharta, the infrastructural developments, and the various beneficial schemes have seen that the impact of Corona has been all but negligible in India. Ma'am, you have cemented yourself in the history of the country and the hearts of the people as well. Honorable Finance Minister, ma'am, as the elected secretary of the SIRC of ICAI, I can confidently say that the entire fraternity of chartered accountants fully support all your initiatives and acknowledge the amazing work that you have put in for the benefit and development of the country as a whole. Ethics, integrity, and commitment are three key words that we stand by as chartered accountants. We have taken all your inputs and we will play a key role in GST, faceless assessment in income tax, and in IBC matters. I must add, ma'am, hailing from a family of women professionals, you are a huge matter of inspiration for my fellow women professionals across the country, and I'm sure, motivated by your incredible achievements, we will have more women take up more important role in all facets of finance, be it in profession or even at the company level. We are working in a motivated manner to ensure that the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme will also be a great success as it is hugely beneficial scheme to assessees. I'm sure all the CAs present here will incredibly support this initiative and make it a grand success as well. We are proud to say that we are partners in nation building and we will continue to fulfill this role under your dynamic leadership, ma'am. I thank you once again for making this an important program, a momentous and a landmark one. Your presence here, despite a very busy schedule, truly shows your greatness, and we feel blessed to have had you inaugurate this landmark program. I would also like to thank our President and Vice President for joining us to inaugurate this and the great work that they're doing at the helm of affairs. And I'd also like to thank our dynamic chairman, CADC Jain, for heading our first ever virtual conference. And I'd also like to thank all my regional council colleagues and my central council colleagues for supporting us and helping us organize this program. I wish all the participants the best, and I'm sure you'll enjoy the program at the comfort of your home and office. Stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind.
Thank you.